My name is Deborah Choi, she, her pronouns, and I'm the Youth Justice Staff Attorney at Root and Rebound. So here's the agenda for the presentation. First, I'm hoping to introduce you all to the organization, talk about some of the resources that we have available for you all to access. And then I'm also hoping to take a bit of time to talk a little bit about our youth-focused work. And then finally, I'll take some time to talk about the DJJ Honorable Discharge application. This is a form of relief that will be sunsetting with the closing of DJJ. So I'm hoping that through this presentation, we could share some of this information with you all so that you can share with anyone who might be eligible and interested in applying. Next slide, please. So Root and Rebound's mission is to support people navigating reentry and reduce the harms perpetuated by mass incarceration. And we try to do this through 3 different key programs: direct services, public education, and systems reform. So there's a number of different ways that we provide direct services, and that could be through individualized one-on-one legal support to clients. It could be through our hotline, which is available every Friday and also available to the general public so that anyone can call us and connect with one of our attorneys for legal help. And then finally, through clinics, which we often host in partnership with other organizations. Our public education program provides different guides and toolkits. We also provide trainings and workshops like this, and I'll talk a little bit about some of those resources later on in the presentation. And then finally, our systems reform program consists of policy and impact litigation work that's informed by our direct services. Next slide. So we have, we at Root and Rebound, we have a number of attorneys that are based in Southern California, and we actually work with our Southern California team in particular works really closely with the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, or ARC. I was happy to see we have that presence here, but R&R also has offices across California. So we have an office in Oakland. We also have one in Fresno. We also have an office in Greenville, South Carolina, but the majority of our work and the hotline that I mentioned is for folks in California. Next slide. So the work and the services that we provide really focus on reentry barriers that people may experience due to any sort of record or systems impact. And as you all know, that could involve a number of different areas of law and life. So here are some examples listed on this slide. It could be anything from housing, employment, family reunification, record cleaning or record sealing, or expungement. It could be support with obtaining ID or other vital documents, support with issues arising with respect to parole or probation, immigration, public benefits, and more. Next slide. So Root and Rebound, we offer different levels of services depending on a number of criteria, like the needs of the client, the connection to the issue, the connection of the issue to reentry, and then the scope of the particular issue. We do an individualized assessment for each person in each case to try to figure out what's the appropriate level of service. And here we have listed a couple of examples that really speak to the range of different levels of services that we could potentially provide. So in some cases, we will enter into direct representation where we would be the attorney of record. In other cases, we might have less of an involvement and we might just be involved in helping the client prepare for a hearing where they might be self-represented. Other sort of examples of different levels of services include like issue coaching. We might just assist the individual with like co-profiling, which means we'll assist with different forms or petitions that's necessary, and then they'll do the filing themselves. We also might act as an intermediary between the client and employer, public defender, or parole agents. We might also provide support by providing resources, and that could be written resources like Know Your Rights information. And then we could also do research. If the client comes to us with an issue that's out of scope for us, we could do the research to try to provide some warm referrals. So now I'll talk a little bit about the different resources that we have publicly available on our website. So we have a library of different types of resources that are available, and they're all accessible on our website and for free. And here are just some examples. I'll be talking about the first two, the Roadmap to Reentry and the Reentry Planning Toolkit, in a little bit more detail. But for now, just wanted to note that we do have a number of different resources available on other issues like fair chance hiring, for example, or education-focused resources as well. And here, just to note a couple of other resources that we have available that are more national in scope, but just wanted to flag that these are also available on our website. So the resources that I sort of previewed, and the resources that I'll talk to you all about in a little bit more detail go hand in hand with our services. The guides and the toolkits provide sort of generalized information about rights or general information about different areas within reentry. And then with our services, that's an opportunity for people to connect with our attorneys to help enforce those rights. So like I mentioned, I'm going to highlight two of our resources in particular. And the first one is the Roadmap to Reentry. So the Roadmap is a really like an encyclopedic resource for navigating the legal impact of a record on a variety of different topics. The Roadmap to Reentry, it's really meant to be a guide that's specific to California, and it covers all sorts of different legal barriers in reentry. I think the one thing that I want to emphasize is that the law is generally changing, and so we would advise individuals to reach out to us for legal advice or with any questions about how different laws or issues might affect them. But just wanted to really highlight this this resource as one that's available to the general public. And it's searchable, so it's really easy to use. You can use different key terms to look up specific issues. And again, it's free to access through our website. So the next resource that I wanted to highlight for this group are the Reentry Planning Toolkit. And we have 3 different versions of the Reentry Planning Toolkit available, and they're very comprehensive. Like the Roadmap to Reentry, it covers a lot of different areas of life and law that reentry impacts. We have 3 different versions of the planning toolkits available, and each of them is sort of targeted to different audiences. We have one that's available for service providers that are supporting people in reentry. we have one for directly impacted individuals, and then we have one for family members or loved ones that are wanting to use this resource to support loved ones or people in reentry as well. And then finally, I'll also just note that we do have a number of video resources available as well. We regularly host different panels and community forums on different issue areas. And we'll also host virtual trainings and webinars as well. And you can find those trainings through this link here on, and I believe after this presentation, I'll be able to share this PowerPoint with everyone so that you can access all of these links and slides as well. So now that we've talked about a number of resources that are more general reentry resources that are available through our website, I just wanted to transition a little bit to talk a bit about our youth-focused work. So under our grant, we're able to work with young people from the age of 18 to 26 in the following counties: in Orange County, Los Angeles, Ventura, San Bernardino, and Riverside. And to give you an idea of the kinds of support that we've provided, here are just a couple of examples. So we've helped people with DJJ honorable discharge applications, which I will talk about in more detail in the following slide. We've supported people gathering mitigation, rehabilitation evidence for if someone returning home has picked up a new case. We've helped with removing barriers so that people could access their driver's license. For example, if they have tickets or DMV holds or maybe license revocations that are acting as barriers to them accessing a driver's license. We've also support people through record cleaning relief or try to access that kind of relief, like fire camp expungement for one example. And we also help with family law issues where there is a nexus to someone's record. And then finally, like I mentioned before, we also help figure out referrals where an issue might be out of scope for our organization. We try to connect, do the research and make connections so that the individual has somewhere else that they could seek legal help. So for the following slides, I'm going to talk about a particular form of relief that will be sunsetting the DJJ honorable discharge. With the closing of DJJ, the DJJ honorable discharge will no longer be available. And so for this final part of this presentation, I'm really hoping to share a bit about the DJJ honorable discharge relief, what it is, what's the process, so that you all have that information to share with anyone who might be eligible or interested in applying. So the DJJ honorable discharge, it's a form of relief that could be used in court as evidence of rehabilitation for record sealing, dismissal, and or Penal Code 290 registration removal. It provides relief from penalties and disabilities that affect access to education, employment, or occupational licensing. And again, because of the closing of DJJ, this form of relief will no longer be available with DJJ closing. So it's really important that interested and eligible individuals apply for honorable discharge soon. There are 4 different eligibility criteria for the DJJ honorable discharge. One, it must have been at least 18 months since the applicant was discharged from DJJ for that individual to be eligible to apply. 2, the applicants must have completed their probation or parole term. And then 3, the applicant must show an ability to desist from criminal behavior. An individual will not be eligible if they were convicted of a felony within 2 years of the petition or applying for the DJJ honorable discharge. And then finally, an applicant must show that they started a quote unquote successful transition to adulthood. And the way that the DJJ sort of defines this last criterion is that the applicant shows a sustained effort in one or more of the following areas. And that includes obtaining employment, pursuing education, developing a vocation, strengthening familial relationships, engaging in the community, building a network of supportive adults and peers, and then finally, other endeavors that help the young person re-enter the community safely. Yes, next slide, please. So the initial step in applying for the DJJ honorable discharge is an online application, and it's linked here. And we will be sharing the PowerPoint so that you have access to the link as well. The application itself is pretty simple. It has a couple of eligibility related questions, but it's mostly comprised of a personal statement. Root and Rebound, myself, we can support individuals that need help crafting this personal statement. What we have heard is that applications must be submitted by May 26th, 2013. So we know that the DJJ is closing at the end of June, but we have heard that any applications must be submitted by May 26th to give enough time for the sort of next steps that I will talk about. So once an application is submitted, the applicant is given an opportunity to submit other rehabilitative evidence, and that could include certificates, photos, any sort of certificates of completions for programs that they've been engaged in. It could also involve letters of support. And this is also something that we could support in. We could work with clients individually to help gather this evidence of rehabilitation. So after you submit the online application, DJJ will request a probation summary report. They'll run a criminal records check, which would take a couple of weeks. And then after that, they'll schedule the day of the hearing. And then the final step is the honorable discharge hearing, which is held before 2 members of the Board of Juvenile Hearings. And this hearing itself is we've heard is pretty informal. It's really an opportunity for the young person and the applicant to share about what they've shared already in their personal statement, and an opportunity for them to speak to the Board of Juvenile Hearings. Yeah, so with that, I know I've shared a lot of information. I just wanted to thank you all for the opportunity to share and connect with you all, and thank you, Megan, for the space to share not only about like R&R, our services, and the resources that we have available, but to also highlight the DJJ honorable discharge relief as well. So how would you connect with us? So for individualized help, if you want to connect with us one-on-one, if clients want to connect individually with us, for clients between the age of 18 to 26, I will be the direct contact. You can reach me at the email here, dchoi@rootandrebound.com. or the phone number listed here. This is my direct number, 510-225-6953. I know I've talked a bit about our youth focus work, but I just also wanted to highlight that at Root and Rebound, we don't have any sort of age limitation. So if you are working with or come across any community members that would benefit from any of the kinds of issues that I talked about today, or would benefit from any of the services that I talked through, we have a hotline that's free and it's available every Friday from 9 p.m. to 3 p.m. And individuals can reach us by calling the number here, 510-279-4662. And if for any members that are calling that hotline, you will reach one of our attorneys and be able to work with us individually on any sort of reentry related legal issue. And then finally, I just wanted to highlight our website, rootandrebound.org, where you can access all of the resources that I talked through today. So again, thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions and happy to connect with people individually over email or by phone.
Yes, thank you, Deborah, so much for all this info. I'm so glad you can make it. And we definitely will be sharing out both the presentation as well as the recording, so that way you guys have the links as well as that. And so in the meantime, though, I definitely want to open it up for questions. If anyone had any questions for Deborah, either about their services or about the DJJ process, anything they offer or anything like that.
Hi, this is Ramon. I did have a question. Do you all also provide services for people that might be going through like an immigration case or like a deportation proceeding?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. So we aren't immigration attorneys, but we do provide sort of referral services. So we have a number of clients who reach out to us about like immigration related issues. So to answer your question, we won't provide direct representation, but we will help people sort of connect them to immigration attorneys. And the way that we primarily see that happening is we help people do an intake or a sort of form with the Immigration Legal Resources Center. And that's the primary way that we try to assess whether record cleaning help would be beneficial to their immigration case.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes, hi, this is Itzel from the Board of Supervisors. I had a question regarding the toolkits, especially the one for families. Is that available in other languages besides English?
I don't think that we have it available in other languages other than English at this time, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Any other questions? And just to chime in too, those, just so you guys know, if you're not aware of those books, those are hugely useful. I've had them in my bookshelf, several of them for years, for resources and whatnot. They're great to share with clients. And then even just their like hotline information to refer clients to or to call. They've been a wealth of information over the years. So if you guys are not aware of Root and Rebound, please definitely check them out. They stay up on the current laws. They're great for resources, all that kind of stuff too. So, and then all their guides are very useful. So I know sometimes you get things and you're like, oh, I don't know if this really pertains for our clients, but all of their stuff has been a huge help over the years. So definitely recommend to go check those out. Any other questions?
I have a question, Megan. If somebody is locked up and wanted to know this information, is there any way that somebody comes into the facility and speaks with them, or is everything done through referral and the contact would have to be made after a post-release, or how does that work?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So we have people contacting us that are currently incarcerated, and we work with people directly in those cases. So they could access our help through the hotline. I believe we're able to collect calls as well. We do have a number of staff attorneys that do work in prisons, but it's at this time they're limited to Northern California. But for anyone that's seeking services or anyone that's wanting to plan out their reentry and would like to get connected with our services, who are also currently incarcerated, they can reach us at the hotline.
Perfect. Any other questions? Awesome. Okay, well, we will transition over to the next part. Thank you again, Deborah. Like I said, I'm so glad we connected, and it was perfect timing to get you on and share this out. And so hopefully we can help with some of the applications for youth, or at least get them linked to those resources to see if they qualify and stuff.
My name